everyone, Chris here, and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about the books I read between January 25th and January 31st. First up is The Irish Inheritance by M.J. Lee, and I gave this book 4.5 stars. This is a dual timeline historical fiction. In present day, we're following private investigator Jane Sinclair. She ends up taking a case from an American billionaire who wants to find out who his parents were because he is adopted. As she starts to dig into things, she soon realizes this case is more dangerous than she originally thought it was going to be. In the past, we're following an Irish soldier during the uprising of Easter 1916 and the Irish War of Independence. I really enjoyed getting to see Jane as she dug into the past of her client and how she started to put the pieces together of the information that she found to help him try to find his parents. I enjoyed getting to see the past timeline and how that was wove in and out of the present timeline, and how the author started to piece together the story between the two timelines, because obviously, as is the case with every dual timeline, usually the timelines are somehow connected. So it's interesting to see how the two timelines connected and finding out the mystery of that. I really enjoyed Jane as a character and seeing the changes she made in her life throughout the story, because there were definitely a lot of things going on in her life during this story. I did manage to figure some things out before the end of the book, but I didn't manage to figure out everything. So I thought it had a nice balance of things I could figure out and things that I didn't. All in all, I really enjoyed the way this story was woven together, and I definitely want to continue on with this series. Next up, I read Starsight by Brandon Sanderson, and I gave this book 5 stars. Starsight is the sequel to Skyward. And in Skyward, we're following Spensa, who lives on a planet where her race crash-landed ages ago, and all she's ever wanted to be is a pilot, just like her father. Unfortunately, her father is one of her race's biggest traitors, and Spensa doesn't believe that, so not only does she want to get into flight school, she also wants to clear her father's name. But because of this history with her father, Spensa has an uphill battle because people in her world believe that she is going to turn out to be a traitor just like her father. So Spensa sets out to join flight school, become a pilot, help her race fight back against the aliens, trapping them on this planet, and hopefully clear her father's name in the process, though she learns that may be harder to do than she thought it would be. So I enjoyed book 2 just as much as book 1, and this is a reread, and I enjoyed it both times. I liked getting to see Spensa in the new situation that she found herself in and how she kind of had to navigate that. It's very hard to talk about this book without spoiling book 1 because it is a continuation of the story, so to say too much about what Spensa is doing and what Spensa is up to would be spoiling the events of book 1. But I really do enjoy the new situation that Spensa has found herself in and how she manages to navigate that. And I enjoy the new characters we meet in this book. And I really was curious as to where things were going to go based on the way this novel leaves off, because it leaves on quite an interesting cliffhanger, and I'm very curious as to where things are going to go next for Spensa and how her story progresses from here. Next up, I read The Whispering Skull by Jonathan Stroud, and I gave this book 3.75 stars. This is the second book in the Lockwood & Co. mystery series. And we're back with Lucy, Lockwood, and George, and they work at a agency because in this world, only kids can detect the supernatural, like ghost schools, things like that. And so they set up agencies, and Lucy, Lockwood, and George work at Lockwood & Co. And in this book, they end up at the site of an excavation of a doctor who was said to be able to communicate with the dead. Their client, Mr. Saunders, wants them to seal this doctor's coffin in silver to prevent anything paranormal from happening. All is going well until George attracts an unwanted phantom. Things end up going downhill from there, and Lucy, Lockwood, and George must get to the bottom of what is happening before someone gets hurt. So I think I might have enjoyed this book more if I had been reading it physically. I was listening to the audiobook, and my concentration with audiobooks hasn't been the best, so I think there were bits and pieces I missed because I just tuned them out. I think these books do a really good job at bringing about that spooky atmosphere, and they're not books I would want to read at night, but I'm also a big chicken, so keep that in mind when you're going into this. If you are a big chicken like me, you might not want to read these books at night because, like I said, brilliant, brilliant atmosphere. I liked getting to see more of Lucy, George, and Lockwood's relationship and how that's developed, because in the first book, Lucy is only just meeting Lockwood and George, whereas in this one, she's been with them for a while. So it was interesting to see the continuing development of their relationship. I enjoyed the things that they brought over from book 1 and continued on, like the threads that carried through from book 1 to book 2. I definitely plan to continue on with the series because, like I said, it is got such a great atmosphere, and I think the mysteries are quite intriguing, and it is super interesting getting to see how Lockwood, George, and Lucy deal with these things, because they're 3 very different characters, and it is interesting to see how they come together as a group and deal with these paranormal happenings, and I'm very curious to see what new mystery they have to tackle in book 3. And lastly, I read Aquacorn Cove by Kay O'Neill, and I gave this book 5 stars. In this book, we're following Lana, who, along with her father, returned to their seaside home to help clean up after a major storm. While she is there, she discovers a cove of magical aquacorns. While she is struggling to deal with the adults in her life, she works to find ways to help out the aquacorns. So this is an adorable graphic novel. I wish I had a copy of it so I could show you the artwork, because it is just so cute and adorable and beautiful, and I just love it. This is by the same author as the Tea Dragon series, and if you've read that, then you kind of have an idea of what to expect with this, because it is definitely in the same vein, and I can honestly see this being set in the same world, even though we're not dealing with any of the same characters. I really enjoyed Lana as a character and getting to see her journey throughout this book and finding out why she left home and what the issues are with her being back and why she is struggling to deal with the adults in her life and why it is so much easier for her to focus on the aquacorns. I really enjoyed the message this book sent out, and I don't know if it's just going to be a standalone or if there's going to be sequels a la the Tea Dragons, but if there is, I will definitely read it, and I will definitely read any books that Kay O'Neill writes that are set in this universe or are written in this style, because they've all been absolutely brilliant. I've given them all 5 stars, and they're just really quick, easy reads that, I don't know, make my heart happy. I really love this book just as much as I love the Tea Dragons. So those are the books I read between January 25th and January 31st. All of my social media, including my Discord, is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me sea creature emojis, like this video, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!